we know it's spring and it's warm out, but avalanches are a serious risk in Utah's backcountry for most of the year. And we always bring in avalanche expert Craig Gordon for expert help.
That's right. Craig has been around for a quarter century and has a lot of tips that he passed along during that time with the Utah Avalanche Center. We have Lincoln with him right now in the middle of a blizzard.
You like this background?
Yeah.
I think it is amazing. I've got a flamingo surf shirt and it's snowing, man. I feel pretty remarkable.
I walked into this studio and I said, the man, the myth, the legend. You said, well, 2 out of 3. So which 2 out of 3 are we, Craig?
We'll leave that for your viewers to decide.
All right. Well, let's talk about this. Do we have avalanche danger right now? Is it still a concern?
You know, anytime there's snow in the mountains, and then when we get new snow like we did a couple of days ago, of course, the avalanche danger can change pretty rapidly. It's pretty straightforward. And even though Utah Avalanche Center has stopped issuing daily avalanche forecasts, there is plenty of information on their website, utahavalanchecenter.org. And, you know, it's just important to get as much information before heading out. And remember, a large majority of the ski resorts now are closed. So certainly be aware of the uphill policies. And, you know, we definitely want to keep our community tight and keep by those rules of the road.
You had some good skiing yesterday, you told me.
Oh my gosh, I had amazing skiing yesterday with about 18 inches of fresh snow, nice cold powder, and an absolutely stunning, beautiful day. Yesterday, our license plates didn't lie. Indeed, the greatest snow on earth. Yes, I felt pretty blessed about that.
Let's talk about educating yourself.
Sure.
You know, like classes are nationwide. You, in fact, created the Utah Snow and Avalanche workshops, right?
I did, yeah. So that's going on nearly 20 years.
Okay.
And Lincoln, what that does is that brings together not only our recreation community, but also our pro community. So they're two separate events. Recreation community, high-end presentations that last about 15 minutes, 5-minute Q&A. And normally 400 people attend that. That's in early November and then December as well. And then for the pro community, we bring the pros together, the people who are keeping us safe, and the resorts, the highway programs, forecasters and guides, and we have them, you know, share information, latest technology, and of course, stories.
Utah, such a hot spot for avalanches.
Oh my gosh, man. This is where avalanche research and snow science began in the late 40s and early 50s in Little Cottonwood Canyon. So that is sort of the center of the universe for all things avalanche. And then, of course, Utah Avalanche Center took the lead there in the 80s and, you know, really blew apart and broke down the ceiling of traditional outreach education and, of course, very colorful forecasts.
Okay, so people, how late in the season can you actually get out into the backcountry and get some good turns in?
Oh man, I had spectacular skiing yesterday.
Okay.
And yeah, just you know, keeping an eye on these incoming storms. Of course, Lindsay was talking about some warming this week. So, you know, some of that fresh snow is going to take on some heat and we can expect some damp avalanches. And then looks like maybe next week some more storms on the way. And, you know, anytime we're headed out in the backcountry, we definitely want to be armed with basic avalanche awareness. And that's where over 20 years ago, I created the Know Before You Go program. And you know, Lincoln, we had talked about this earlier. Over 350,000 Utahns have attended that program. It's a national program and it's across the globe in 44 countries and 13 languages. So something that was locally made and locally played here has impacted lives around the globe.
Okay, one other thing I want to chat about, you mentioned it before we started, the Brass program?
Yeah, the Brass Foundation. And so, you know, I, even though I'm retiring from the Forest Service, I plan to stay fully aligned with the mission of helping people navigate the backcountry and helping them to navigate that safely. Getting home at the end of the day to their families is super important. The Brass Foundation is the Bryce and Ronnie Athlete Snow Safety Program. And what that is We are forming modules that reach out to over 5,000 coaches nationwide. Now, these are coaches that help potential Olympic athletes get into those venues. Now, the boundary policies and the Avalanche work that's done here in the States differs from Europe, from Chile, you know, from down under in New Zealand. So we want to make our athletes aware of those potential dangers and let them know the rules of the road, let them know where they can get information. And Lincoln, this was on the heels of a very tragic avalanche accident that took one of our local athletes, tragically took their life, and they were on a training mission in Europe, and we're just not quite that familiar with the boundary policies, and that's 11 years ago. So we want to save any family that heartache. And so, yeah, I'm super stoked to be involved in that initiative. And, you know, that's helping to keep Olympic athletes safe, because they're going to become visiting us in just a minute or two, right?
In 2034, of course. So it teaches them to be safe in different places overseas.
Absolutely. So we want to keep not only our local community and our national community, we want to keep our worldwide community safe, and particularly people who are at a high level and are starting to dive into the backcountry, and it's right in their own backyard.
Craig Gordon, thank you so much for being here, and I know you're officially retired, but we can keep calling you, right?
Absolutely. It has been a tremendous blessing. The biggest gratitude, the biggest joy of my life, and the biggest honor of my life to be part of this collective snow community. So thanks, my friend.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
It's always fun to talk to him. Mary, you know that as well, so I'll send it back to you. He always helps local journalists out in every way possible.
Even in retirement, we have his contact information.
Oh, yeah. We're not going to let his phone number go. So.
Not anytime soon.
Okay. Thanks so much, guys. Always great. And remember, you can watch that segment, anytime on your phone, your tablet, or TV. Check out the highlights on our Arc Salt Lake YouTube page, or